I'm here for the live Q&A today, so if you've got any questions, I am here for the tripod today, and it feels like it's really close to me because normally it's quite far away, and it feels like I'm like right in my face. So, but it looks okay in the picture, so I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, that'd be alright. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, in the natural garden coaching group this week, we've been talking about preparing your garden for autumn. We're coming into autumn. Bit of a longer summer this year, shorter summer, but it started later. So now autumn is starting to kick in a little bit. Don't know if you've noticed any signs of autumn where you are, but we've started to see things in the mornings. The days are getting a little bit shorter. So I just wanted to touch base on it to see how everybody's getting on, after they started thinking about it, etc. A lot of people kind of forget about the garden in the winter. There's not just the natural colour that appears, like the leaves dying off, any flowers that might possibly be out, anything like that, just the natural things that they don't really sort of plan for, they just would occur normally anyway. So that's all that really happens in most people's gardens through the winter, unless they put conscious effort in and plan for a autumn-winter garden. So I've got a few things here that you could probably get going now if you wanted to encourage more colour through your garden through the winter. This one for autumn time is tidy up your garden. Tidy up, cut back things that are dying off. So you've got the annuals that would be dying off now, starting to die off now. It's a little bit early for them. They're still going. But yeah, tidy things up, cut things back. Often, if autumn starts off quite warm, as it does in the south usually. If it starts off quite warm, if you cut things back when they start to die off, it will naturally encourage new growth. And you might even, between now and winter, get a few more flowers in. So that will help draw the colour through, if you like, draw through to the winter time. So if you cut them back when they start to die off, that will encourage the plant to produce more new growth and more flower heads. So yeah, and it makes the garden look tidier as well. You can add it to your compost heap. So when you start your new heap for the autumn time, it will add to that. That's always good as well. So it provides a bit more material for that, which is nice. So makes the garden look tidier. You can tidy up and edge flower beds better when everything's all together and clear. Perfect. Now, one of the tips I gave yesterday in the weekly live training that we do, sort of live sessions, is when you've tidied up your flower beds, you can see the spaces that are left from when you've cut your plants back. You can then plant your spring bulbs to then carry on from early spring. Then they'll start to, all the green will fill the spaces, and then the flowers will come out. And then by the time those plants that you've cut back come back into flower, the spring bulbs would have gone over. So it's a nice transition plant. So when you've cut them back, you can see the spaces that you can plant in, which works quite nicely. You can also use those spaces for winter flowering bedding plants, like pansies and violas. Cyclamen are really good in the bedding, but winter flowering plants. You get loads of foliage-based plants as well. I say foliage-based, they've always got flowers, but the foliage is what you buy them for, as well annuals that you can plant in there as well. So that's a really good way of doing it. So if you have the old spring bulbs down and then top them with the bedding, so that will carry through winter, autumn-winter colour, and then as the early spring comes up, the bulbs will grow up through the bedding plants and then flower, and then the perennials will then pick up from after the bulbs have flowered. So it's a nice transition, cut my teeth in, for you. As I say, pansies and violas are really good. They're a staple in my garden. They are. I love them through spring, summer, autumn and winter. I am filming it today actually. I'm doing a winter hanging basket. I'm transferring my baskets over. They've about died off now, so I will be turning them into winter baskets. So I'll be filming that, so I will post that in the group anyway, so you can see that on YouTube, so that's fine. So if you haven't got a lot of space, or you don't want to then plant lots of new plants in your garden, if you haven't got a big garden, you have got a big garden and you don't want to go to the effort of planting all these winter plants in, fine. Stick some hanging baskets around your garden. You would have probably had them from summer anyway, so just create, turf them out and turn them into winter ones. Now, as I say, I'm doing this video today, so you can see that coming up. I'll post the link in here anyway, so you can see it. But hanging baskets and containers are a really good way of dropping colour into your garden through the autumn and winter with little effort. You can just plant them up. They'll fill out really quickly. There's minimal maintenance. You will have to water them a little bit over the winter, but you won't have to feed them too much because plants don't grow so quickly, so they don't need so much over winter. But being containers and baskets, they will dry out. They don't need a lot of water because the days are shorter, the sun isn't as strong or as hot, and we get a bit more rain in the winter, so they don't need as much maintenance. I would say keep an eye on the deadheading as usual, because the more you deadhead them, the more flowers they'll produce. Same old, but they do grow slower, so everything's going to need to be not maintained as much, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a really nice way to go with baskets and containers, because you can just kind of plonk them around the garden, or hang them around the garden if it's baskets, and it'll just encourage a bit more colour without a lot of effort. So there we go. So that works with any sort of space really, so whatever works for you. La 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 la